Hey Patriots, welcome back to the channel where we speak truth, hold the line, and never back down from a fight for this great country. If you're new here, hit that like button, share this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a second of the action. Because today, oh boy, Washington is losing its mind. Now I just watched a Senate Judiciary Committee meeting. And folks, what happened was nothing short of a political circus. The left is fuming. Why? Because President Trump's nominee for U.S. Attorney in D.C., the one and only Janine Piro, has them shaking in their boots. She's unapologetically conservative. She believes in law and order. She has a spine of steel. And you guessed it. She refuses to bend the knee to the woke mob. But of course that triggered the Democrats, and they turned a routine vote into a melodrama about ethics, fear, and so-called danger to democracy. Let's break this down. This isn't just about Janine. This is about the left losing control of the justice narrative. So buckle up, I've got a lot to say. First.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor, you and I are going to run through some math. So everyone that hates math, please, you can tune out. Also, for the fun of it, for those of you who actually have the Wall Street Journal app as of this morning, skip the story that says Democrats are at their 35-year low in favorability. Go to the article that's very detailed, simple graphs to look at on distributional effects of this tax cut. And you'll actually see, once again, the wealthy are paying substantially more. The middle class actually gets a higher percentage of the benefit than the upper income. So instead of the political class trying to spin all of you, actually just go look at the actual math. Professor, and I know, I'm a fan of a lot of your work, and the Joint Economic Committee has quoted some of your work over the years. One thing that I believe your team has actually worked on is the morality and actually future economic vitality of populations that participate in the economy. It's really a University of Chicago study a few years ago for leading PhD economists did the report that's saying if you don't have work requirements, they're poorer at the end of 10 years. If you do have requests to participate in the economy at the end of 10 years, they're wealthier. Do you find that in your own literature?
The Senate committee was voting on several U.S. attorney nominees. Some of them, like Daniel Rosen, had bipartisan support. Good. That shows adults can still be in the room. They also passed 3 strong bills: the TRACE Act, the Opioid Overdose Data Enhancement Act, and the Child Act. All solid moves that help law enforcement get the tools they need to protect our communities. So far, so good. But then it all went downhill. Last week's vote got derailed by Democrats throwing a tantrum. The chairman set a deadline to vote by 10:30, offered time before and after for debate. Totally reasonable. But instead of respecting that, some senators stormed out of the room and played victim, whining about not being allowed to speak. Sound familiar? It's what the left does when they don't get their way. They break the system, cry foul, and blame the other side. Then came the real fireworks, the nomination of Janine Piro. Now, Patriots, I want you to listen to this. They attacked her for supporting Trump. They smeared her for calling out the political witch hunt. That was January 6th. And they lost it when she called out prosecutors who have been politically weaponizing the justice system. Let me ask you, what's wrong with a U.S. attorney standing up for fair trials and due process? What's wrong with demanding that our prosecutors don't become political hitmen for the DNC? Oh, but it gets better. Senator after senator accused Janine Piro of being unethical, biased, and dangerous just because she once dared to ask tough questions about election integrity and the deep state's role in spying, leaking, and covering. For their friends, they even dragged up her personal life and tried to twist it into some kind of federal scandal. Why? Because she refuses to be silenced. She refuses to coddle leftist narratives. And that, my friends, is why she belongs in D.C. But here's what made me furious. They said truth-tellers like Janine Piro create a culture of fear. No, the culture of fear comes from you, leftists, threatening whistleblowers, doxing anyone who steps out of line, and trying to cancel dissent with slander and smears. You want fear? Look at the prosecutors and judges who now need extra security because of the leftist violent rhetoric. You want intimidation? Try asking any Trump supporter who's spoken up online lately how tolerant your side is.
Well, absolutely, and I've actually been somewhat shocked today at the exaggerations of the supposed catastrophes that are going to happen given that we are now including work requirements for Medicaid. You know, the CBO projections of how many people are going to, they use the word lose health insurance, they don't consider the fact that a lot of people will voluntarily move off of Medicaid onto private health insurance, which is actually the point. And so, no, that's right. I also just want to, you want some numbers? Medicaid rolls have increased since 2019 by 7 million people.
And Professor, and look, for anyone who says it's a cut, it's not. It's a slowdown in the growth. We also have to deal with some math reality, and it's not Republican or Democrat, it's demographics. In 7 years, Medicare doubles in spend. It doubles in spend. And one of the great sins we do as a committee, Republicans and Democrats, is we somehow think healthcare is the subsidy. Think about every word you've heard from the Democrats here in the discussion of healthcare is the subsidy. Sorry, ACA is a finance bill. Republican alternative was a finance bill. Medicare for All is a finance bill. When will we actually unleash the technology, the healthcare revolution to change what we pay, not how we finance and ask for subsidies? Professor, and I think it's actually something your colleague did, which showed that the inflation we had the previous 4 or 5 years was actually the biggest punch in the gut to income inequality in America, because those of us with assets, we get wealthier, the other populations get poorer. And the only choice we have is to build a tax system, regulatory system, incentive system for productivity. Am I wrong?
You're absolutely correct, Congressman Schweikert. Productivity is the only answer for us to get out of the situation that we're in. Let's just talk about the medical systems for a moment, okay? Federal government, it spends about a third of the total expenditures on Medicare and Medicaid. And these have gone up so much. You know, the federal government in 2019 spent $409 billion on Medicaid. In 2025, they spent $655 billion on Medicaid. And people are crying about cuts. Okay, we need to get much more efficient with these programs and unleash productivity improvements in the programs.
And in
to
9
the
years,
benefit
it's well
of,
over 800.
Yeah, and it's going forward. It's only going to increase unless we can incentivize productivity improvements. It's just simply unsustainable. The money is not there.
Mr. Speaker, or excuse me, Mr. Chairman, Professor, and I know we only have seconds, but also in your written testimony, you do something that I really hope we do some future hearings on, is what policies can we adopt that now go hand in glove with, we have expensing, research and development expensing. We have the incentives to invest in that productivity. How do we get the alignment of now our laws, our regs, our statutes to actually make them work so we maximize that GDP growth and therefore maximize prosperity for every American?
I think you have to look at, as I mentioned in my testimony, more that you can do in order to contribute to the deregulation of the economy in ways that enhances productivity, particularly in medicine. You know, things like telehealth, things like the use of AI in medicine. Some who benefit from the current system actually are against that, but I believe that's the only way that we're going to be able to get out of the fiscal problems that we are in, because these medical programs, the spending on the medical programs has exploded, will keep exploding, and is eating up increasing shares of our budget. We're not going to be able to afford the military. We're not going to be able to, our interest payments are already over 20% of our debt, of our revenues rather. Interest payments are over 20% of our revenues. If you take Social Security payroll tax off the table, they're over 25% of our revenues, excluding the Social Security payroll tax. And we just don't, the money is just not going to be there. We need these
Professor,
productivity improvements.
I don't want to try the chairman's patience, but thank you for your tolerance. Thank you. And thank you, Professor.
So let me say it loud and clear, Janine Piro deserves that seat. She's not perfect, but she's exactly what we need in this fight. A bulldog, a patriot, a fighter who isn't afraid to face down the corrupt swamp in Washington. D.C. To my fellow Americans, this is about more than one nominee. It's about whether we're going to let the radical left rewrite the rules every time they lose. About whether we're going to sit back and watch them weaponize fear, twist the Constitution, and silence voices like yours and mine. So what can you do? Share this video, tag a friend who's fed up with the lies, drop a comment. Do you support Janine Piro's nomination? Let's get this conversation going, and let's make sure the Senate knows that we the people are watching. Until next time, God bless you, God bless Janine Piro, and God bless the United States of America.